So I was rewatching The Lord of the Rings recently, and the entire time I couldn't help but think about this Fellowship of the Ring game that I had as a kid. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, I really enjoyed this game, and it's kind of awesome, but everybody I've ever spoken to about this always remembers one thing. And that is this nightmare-inducing game of hide-and-seek with the ring wraiths. No, don't see me. Nah, fuck you, ring wraith. You mess with New York, you mess with all of us. Now, apparently most people, when they reached this level and couldn't pass it, just kind of gave up playing the game at that point, which is understandable. But I didn't have any other video games to play, so I guess we're gonna have to hide from the Black Riders. Now, going back as an adult and replaying this level, I've now realized that this quest was, in fact, incredibly easy. But as a small child, I was not mentally prepared for the amount of torment that this was going to inflict. Because every single day I would come home from school, turn on my PS2, and wait for the ring wraiths to inevitably find me and chop off my fingers so they can take the one ring for their own. Also, for some reason when you use the ring, you can see through Frodo's head, like you can see it's just eyeballs staring back at you. It's really disturbing. I don't like it. I don't know if it's a glitch, but please stop. Once you finally do get through the Nazgul though, it turns out, and this is something I guess I forgot, but there's a really horrible segment where you have to play as the Hobbit just with a stick fighting wolves, and it's terrible. Look at Frodo here, it's all like, I got this. No, you don't got this, Frodo. Get the fuck out of there. The worst part though is definitely this stupid tree, which you just have to stand like in the corner as far as possible and then just run up and whack it with a stick anytime it slams the ground. It's not like a creative boss fight like you might find in Legend of Zelda. It's literally just stand in this exact spot and just hope the spiky things in the ground don't juggle you to death so you have to redo this whole stupid match. You just have to keep on doing that until finally Tom Bombadil shows up and saves you from this hell nightmare that is whatever this boss fight is supposed to be. I kind of thought things were going to be getting better from this point on, but I'm going to be honest, Tom Bombadil kind of disturbs me a little bit.
Oh, Tom Bombadil, oh, by water, wood and hill, by the reed and willow, by fire, sun and moon. Hearken now and hear us, come Tom Bombadil, for our need is near us.
Fuck you, Tom Bombadil.
Also, the first thing he has you do after saving you from the tree is to find a bunch of flowers, which are being protected by more spiders. And I have to be honest, I kind of thought we were going to get a break from all the monotony, Tom, but I guess not. I guess I'm going to have to go do manual labor for you. Fucking Tom Bombadil.
Well, little friends, old Tom has answered your call. Get
Wait,
out,
no more scene.
vanish
No,
in the
stop.
sunlight.
Once you do finally get through the Froyo Baggins levels, though, the game does actually become way better. The next character we get to play as is Aragorn, and he is awesome. He swings his sword around, stabs into the ground on the orcs like he's a goddamn badass. Just makes you feel so powerful. It almost kind of reminds me as like a precursor to the Two Towers and Return of the King games that came after this. They weren't developed by the same studios or anything, and there was actually supposed to be a sequel to this game that looks incredibly similar to the Two Towers game. So I'm not that disappointed that we didn't get it. I would have been interesting. But for the most part, I really don't have a whole lot to say about playing as Aragorn, because he's a pretty basic character. He doesn't really have any special powers like Frodo, and he's definitely not as cool as the next character we get to play as. By the way, when they first meet Aragorn, they're like, who are you and why should we trust you? And then the bartender just runs in and he's like, hey, by the way, you should trust a guy named Aragorn. And this guy's just like, oh yeah, that's me, I'm Aragorn. Like, oh yeah, that's not suspicious at all. Okay. But then after that, you get to play as Gandalf. Now that is awesome. As a kid, I hated playing as Gandalf because playing on the PS2, trying to switch between all his different powers was an absolute nightmare. Playing on the PC is way better than it was playing on the PS2, I gotta say. And Gandalf, he's definitely my favorite character now in this series. Although, fighting the Balrog is an absolute nightmare.
Gandalf! No!
The fuck happened to Aragorn's head? The rest of the game is pretty much the same after this point. Gandalf dies, so you have to play as Aragorn for the rest, which is better than Frodo at least. But then it culminates in this final battle with the Nazgul, and I remember as a kid seeing this and being like, what the fuck is going on? I do not remember this from the movie. Like, I was so confused because we're supposed to be at Amon Hen, which only has orcs. There's no ring race or anything like that. So I thought that this was supposed to be like the final battle where Frodo destroys the ring, especially since once you finally do anticlimactically shoot this Nazgul out of the sky, which is hilarious by the way, it ends with Galadriel saying,
"The Fellowship of the Ring has triumphed."
And I was like, wait, what? Is that it? We win? It's over. Congratulations, guys. That's the end of the Lord of the Rings. Nothing else happened after this point. The Fellowship succeeded. We can all go home. I don't know why they decided to do it this way. I guess because they were worried that there wasn't like some kind of final boss battle, so they had to create this thing. Besides, all the other boss battles sucked anyway, and this one was no exception. It's so boring because you just have to stand there with your bow, just like trying to shoot it, and it takes forever, and nothing happens. You just have to wait until you finally kill it, and it's over. Congratulations, you beat the Fellowship of the Ring. Thank God. I hope you enjoyed this foray into my childhood. I'm actually going to be starting to do Twitch streaming soon, so make sure you check that out. You can find a link in the description down below. It's going to be on Mondays and Wednesdays. We're going to be starting with Skyrim. I'll see you guys then. Goodbye.